Blueprints took over my life. It is the debut from indie studio Dogabomb, and yes, it lives up to every whisper of praise you've heard. The premise, while is deceptively simple. You inherit a 45-room mansion on Mount Holly from your late uncle, provided you can uncover its secret 46th room. But here's the catch. Every morning, the house rearranges itself. The door you opened yesterday might lead somewhere entirely different today. It sounds like a clever twist on roguelike design, and at first glance, it is. But Blueprints is far more than a gimmick. Each new day begins in the entrance hall. You're given 3 doors, and behind each one is a choice of 3 blueprint rooms to draft onto your mansion's 5x9 grid. Once you pick a room, you step inside, and lose one of your precious footsteps. You start with 50 steps per day, run out of steps, and your exploration ends. The manor resets, but you retain your knowledge, and occasionally a few permanent unlocks that ease future runs. Rooms vary wildly. Some grant keys or coins, others hide gems you'll need to draft rarer rooms. A pantry might refill your steps, a weights room might have them. Certain rooms are puzzles in themselves. A security terminal requiring a password, a safe demanding a combination, a fortune teller machine that speaks in riddles. And every room is a potential breadcrumb in the hunt for room 46. What makes the loop sing is how these elements interlock. Placing a hallway early might open new paths later. Drafting a greenhouse on the mansion's edge gives you windows. Placing it centrally leaves bare walls. A shovel lets you dig up buried clues, but only if you remember where to dig. Every decision matters, and the real reward is the moment you see a chain of cause and effect snap into place. There are no cutscenes, no voiceovers. Instead, Blueprints whispers its narrative through scattered notes, redacted journals, and cryptic emails between long-gone staff. You'll find a torn letter hinting at family betrayals, a scribbled memo about a missing child, a dusty book with pages ripped out. Piece by piece, you assemble a non-linear tapestry of intrigue, greed, and a mansion that seems almost sentient. Visually, the game favors a stylized Shaw's storybook look. Every room feels handcrafted, with enough detail to invite close inspection, yet the character models occasionally betray its indie roots. The soundtrack is equally restrained, shifting from quiet piano motifs to pulsing tension as you edge closer to the manor's core. It's a world that rewards curiosity, and one that grows richer the longer you linger. Its brilliance lies in how it trusts you. It doesn't hold your hand, it doesn't spoon-feed hints, and it doesn't apologize when you fail. Instead, it hands you a pen and a piece of paper, literally or figuratively, and dares you to connect the dots. And when those dots finally align, the satisfaction is undeniable. If you thrive on puzzles that demand real detective work, if you relish the tension of limited resources, if you're the sort of player who still keeps a physical notebook by your side, Blueprints is made for you. It's a perfect fit for fans of environmental mysteries like Return of the Obra Dinn, or those who felt the itch in Outer Wilds to chart their own path. However, if you shy away from RNG-driven progression, if you need constant hand-holding, or if the idea of restarting multiple times feels more like a chore than a challenge, this may not be your cup of tea. The lack of an in-game journal, the inability to save mid-run, and the occasional frustrating sequence of bad draws are all deliberate design choices, but they can test patience. Blueprints isn't just a game, it's an invitation to think differently, to observe deeply, and to celebrate those rare aha moments when everything clicks. It's a masterclass in minimalist storytelling and emergent design, wrapped in a mystery that feels both personal and profound. This game is a 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, I wholeheartedly recommend Blueprints to anyone who craves intelligent, emergent puzzles and a narrative you earn piece by piece. Grab a notebook, clear your schedule, and prepare to be consumed. You won't regret it.
We are Expedition 33.
Clair Obscur. Expedition 33 isn't your typical JRPG. From the opening seconds, it pulls you into a world of impossible beauty and crushing sorrow. The streets of Lumiere, half ruined, half radiant, feel alive. Every corner of the Belle Epoque inspired architecture, every drifting petal in the wind, is lovingly realized. It is under these heavy skies that you meet Gustave, an engineer whose heart beats with hope, and Maëlle, his fierce foster sister, whose laughter cuts through despair like a blade. I spent the first few hours simply wandering through dusk-lit plazas and abandoned galleries, drawn to every rusting but ornate doorway. These aren't empty facades. They're living set pieces, each promising a hidden diary entry from a past expedition, or the glint of a Pictos accessory waiting to be discovered. And yet, the game never lets you rest for long. A sudden rustle of otherworldly violins will signal the approach of a Nevron, those painted beasts that emerge from dream-splintered canvases. In the blink of an eye, the scene shifts from tranquil exploration to tense combat. Combat is where the magic really happens. On paper, it's turn-based. In practice, it's equal parts rhythm game, puzzle box, and ballet. You select your command, overcharge, elemental barrage, or a free aim shot. But then, you dive into real time to dodge or parry incoming blows. Miss the beat, and you'll watch as your carefully laid plans unravel in a puff of cursed smoke. Land your parry just right, and the world slows. 3 counter slashes later, that same Nevron lies shattered, giving you precious action points to unleash your next devastating combo. Yet no system is flawless. The occasional UI clutter when organizing Pictos and the lack of an on-screen minimap in dungeons is unfortunate. I found myself backtracking through twisting corridors more than once, but each rediscovery led me to a new vista or a secret boss arena that made it worth the detour. The voice acting, it's stellar. The performances turn every cutscene into something you'll replay just to feel their resonance once more. If I had to single out any small missteps, I'd say the relationship leveling at camp feels a bit tacked on. Click through a few dialogue choices and your gradient attack improves. The real emotional work happens in the trenches of battle and in the radiant, windblown cards of lore you unearthed. But these are quibbles in a masterpiece. Clair Obscur, Expedition 33 is 30-odd hours of narrative urgency, broken open by side quests that could easily double that playtime if you're hungry for more. It's a bruising test of skill and a tender narrative on loss and hope. For me, it's a 9 out of 10, and I recommend this game to anyone who craves a JRPG with soul. Players who cherish careful strategy, who yearn for a story that grips the heart, and who welcome the challenge of mastering a combat system that dances on the edge of perfect. Imagine 15 ordinary teenagers plucked from their mundane lives, school hallways, quiet rooftops, weekend cram sessions, and thrust into a fortress wreathed in purple flames. Their mission? Survive 100 days of unrelenting assault by grotesque, otherworldly invaders. No safety nets, no rewind button, just life, death, and the truth buried beneath endless waves of horror. From the first stab of Cirai's spectral knife, it's clear this isn't your typical visual novel. Dialogue spills in frantic bursts, anxious chatter, biting humor, and sudden silences heavy enough to suffocate. You'll meet characters who quip while gutting monsters, and others who brood so deeply you can almost hear their thoughts echoing against stone walls. The narrative lays its cards on the table, but it never hands you the answers outright. Instead, it rewards patience and curiosity, unfurling conspiracies piece by agonizing piece. Combat in the 100 line isn't here to flex textbook SRPG mastery, it's a crucible. A shared pool of action points forces brutal prioritization. Do you dash forward to save a downed ally? Or hold back, build voltage, and unleash a last resort that sacrifices one life to save many? Every decision carries weight. Sometimes, watching a favorite character fall is the only way to turn the tide. It feels more like solving a puzzle than mowing down foes. Each encounter is a handcrafted tableau, begging you to probe its flaws and exploit its openings. And when you nail that perfect chain, combo moves, tactical retreats, desperate gambits, you feel it deep in your chest between battles. You explore ruined forests and crumbling dorm halls in a board game style map. It's a brief reprieve, but not a break. Every corner hides resources or narrative beats. Gift items unlock moments of fragile humanity, laughter shared, tears shed, before you're yanked back into grinding waves of terror. Some moments drag, random events can feel repetitive. Yet those small respites underscore the stakes of the next assault, making each clash feel more urgent, more personal. Visually, the 100 line blends soft pastel environments with jagged neon-infused corridors. Characters' silhouettes, at once familiar and uncanny, stride across battlefields bathed in harsh, unnatural light. The soundtrack is equally dual-natured, piano riffs that whisper sorrow, then explode into pounding industrial beats as enemies swarm. Voice acting ranges from hushed confessions to frenzied screams, pulling you deeper into each mind under duress. The 100 line, Last Defense Academy sometimes stumbles under its own ambition. Early pacing grinds, dialogue can feel excessive, and character archetypes sometimes teeter on cliché, yet every misstep is part of its design, an invitation to question, to endure, and to ultimately feel. By its final hours, when truths collide and loss cuts deepest, it offers moments of genuine catharsis. This game is an 8.5 out of 10, and I can recommend it to you if you're a fan of hybrid visual novel tactics games, and you don't mind pacing that favors depth over speed, if you've got the time and the will to see its many endings. In other words, boldly step inside. The Academy awaits. Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves is a triumphant return for SNK's storied fighting game franchise, blending classic mechanics with modern innovations to deliver a compelling experience for both veterans and newcomers. At the heart of City of the Wolves lies a robust combat system that pays homage to its predecessors while introducing fresh elements. The R8 system stands out, allowing players to enhance their attacks strategically, adding depth to each encounter. The return of the Just Defend mechanic rewards precise timing, offering a satisfying risk-reward dynamic. Additionally, the inclusion of simple input options ensures accessibility without compromising complexity. Visually, the game impresses with its stylized art direction, combining vibrant colors and fluid animations to create a distinctive aesthetic. The character designs are both nostalgic and fresh, appealing to longtime fans and newcomers alike. Complementing the visuals is a dynamic soundtrack that energizes each battle, enhancing the overall immersion. City of the Wolves boasts a diverse roster, featuring returning favorites and intriguing newcomers. While the inclusion of real-world personalities like Cristiano Ronaldo and DJ Salvatore Ganacci has sparked debate, their unique playstyles add variety to the lineup. Each character offers a distinct experience, encouraging players to explore different strategies and find their preferred fighter. The episodes of Southtown mode provides a single-player experience that, while not groundbreaking, offers a series of challenges and narratives to engage with. Though some missions may feel repetitive, the mode serves as a valuable training ground for mastering mechanics and experimenting with characters, while online play benefits from rollback netcode, ensuring smooth matches for the most part. However, there are occasional matchmaking issues and disconnections. These technical hiccups, while not game-breaking, highlight areas for potential improvement in future updates. Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves successfully revitalizes a classic franchise, offering a fighting game that balances depth and accessibility. Its engaging mechanics, striking presentation, and varied roster make it a standout title in the genre. While there are areas that could benefit from refinement, particularly in online stability and single-player content, the game's strengths far outweigh its shortcomings. For me, it is an 8.5 out of 10, and I recommend it to fighting game enthusiasts seeking a blend of classic and contemporary elements, as well as newcomers eager to explore a richly crafted combat system. South of Midnight presents a vision of a place where the old and the new exist side by side. The story follows Hazel Flood, a collegiate track star whose life is upended when a devastating hurricane sweeps her trailer home and her mother away. In the wake of tragedy, Hazel embarks on a quest to rescue her mother, only to discover that she is a weaver, a mystical being capable of mending the fractured threads of the grand tapestry, the fabric of the universe itself. Every step through the eerie, atmospheric town of Prospero feels steeped in history and sorrow. The game's narrative is not just about rescue or redemption, it is a meditation on generational trauma, loss, and the hope for healing. Each knot of the tapestry represents the hidden pain of the people who inhabit this land, and Hazel's journey is one of both personal and communal catharsis. While some narrative threads occasionally feel rushed or disjointed, the overarching message is clear. In a world scarred by past injustices, even the smallest acts of healing can start a ripple of change. A visual feast, stop-motion dreams, and surreal landscapes. Arguably, the most striking feature of South of Midnight is its art direction. The game employs a faux stop-motion aesthetic, giving its characters and environments a handcrafted quality reminiscent of claymation. This artistic choice transforms every level into a living diorama, where spectral creatures seem to be sculpted out of old craft materials, and the lush, foreboding landscapes of the Deep South pulse with life. From oppressive swamps tangled with deadly brambles to decaying shantytowns bathed in eerie atmospheric light, each setting is meticulously detailed. The visuals not only serve to immerse you in a fantastical world, but also underscore the game's themes of decay and renewal. It's a love letter to Southern lore, where every shadow tells a story and every burst of color hints at forgotten beauty. Complementing its visual splendor is a soundtrack that truly elevates the experience. South of Midnight marries genres like Delta blues, New Orleans jazz, gospel, and bluegrass, creating a dynamic musical tapestry that evolves as you explore. The game's audio system is designed to adapt to your pace. Whether you're calmly uncovering the lore hidden in every corner or in the midst of a tense combat encounter, the music shifts to match the mood. South of Midnight opts for a gameplay approach that serves its narrative rather than overshadowing it. As Hazel, you'll navigate a series of platforming challenges, jumping, dashing, wall running, and gliding through intricately designed environments that reward exploration. Along the way, you collect floofs, glowing strands of thread that allow you to upgrade your weaver abilities through a progression system reminiscent of a Spider-Man skill tree. Combat, while not the game's strongest suit, is engaging enough to keep you on your toes. Armed with enchanted crochet hooks and a suite of magical abilities, such as the power to paralyze, push, or pull enemies, Hazel faces off against the Haints, nightmarish manifestations of pain and generational trauma. The combat encounters, though occasionally repetitive, are punctuated by memorable boss battles that test your reflexes and strategy. A charming companion, Crouton, the living doll crafted by Hazel's mother, adds a touch of whimsy and practical assistance, turning the tide in particularly chaotic fights. South of Midnight is an unforgettable experience that excels in its storytelling, visual artistry, and immersive sound design. It's a game that dares to blend heavy themes with a poetic sense of wonder, a journey into the heart of Southern mythology that is as emotionally resonant as it is visually arresting. While its combat mechanics may not satisfy players seeking deep, challenging gameplay, and some narrative threads occasionally stray into tonal inconsistencies, the overall experience is one that leaves a lasting impression. For me, it's an 8.5 out of 10, and I highly recommend South of Midnight to gamers who appreciate artful storytelling and atmospheric adventures. If you're a fan of narrative-driven experiences with rich symbolism and a unique visual flair, think titles like Grizz, Spiritfarer, or even the more indie-leaning aspects of We Happy Few, this game is for you. From the very first menu screen, Oblivion Remastered delivers a visceral hit of nostalgia wrapped in breathtaking fidelity. Every tree, cobblestone, and distant mountain range is reborn with dynamic global illumination, volumetric fog, and richly detailed textures that push the world far beyond its 2006 origins. The iconic orchestral score, now crisp and immersive, swells beneath new ambient effects. The chirp of crickets, the rustle of leaves, The distant clank of armor. It's a sensory feast that captures the soul of the original while making Cyrodiil feel genuinely alive. Story-wise, nothing has changed. You're once again the nameless prisoner, thrust into a quest to save the Empire from Oblivion Gates pouring Daedra into the world. The writing holds up far better than more recent titles. Wry humor, political intrigue, and the occasional cheese-inducing side quest all blend seamlessly alongside brand new voice work for key NPCs. Exploring familiar locations, Anvil's Harbor, Cheydinhall's shadowy streets, now feels fresh, thanks to overhauled textures and dynamic weather that cycles without the old static skyboxes. From the moment you hit New Game, it's impossible not to marvel at the lighting, foliage, and environmental detail made possible by Unreal Engine 5. Core mechanics remain fundamentally the same. Character skills level through use, quests unfold in any order you choose, and lockpicking retains its nerve-wracking tension. But Virtuos slipped in some smart QOL changes. You can sprint, menus are more responsive, and experience gain is smoother. No more obsessively avoiding wrong skill gains just to hit a level cap. Combat animations feel weightier, blocking has real impact, and magic looks spectacular with every spell effect radiating energy across your surroundings. This game offers new quality of life improvements. A sprint button. A simple addition that transforms travel. A refined leveling. All skills now grant experience, removing the old min-max treadmill. More legible fonts, better quest waypoints, and clearer icons. These tweaks preserve Oblivion's heart while smoothing rough edges, a testament to Virtuos' respect for the source material. The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion Remastered stands as both a love letter to longtime fans and a gateway for a new generation. Its visual rebirth is stunning, its core gameplay as rich as ever, and its quality of life enhancements thoughtful. Yet, day one performance hiccups remind us that even legends can stumble on modern tech. For me, this is an 8 out of 10, and I recommend Oblivion Remastered to veteran RPG fans craving a nostalgia hit in beautiful modern dress, skilled open-world explorers who value story, lore, and depth over bullet-hell combat, and tech-savvy players with capable rigs willing to ride out optimization patches. From the moment you launch Lunar Remastered Collection, you're greeted by crisp menus that let you pick between remastered and classics modes. It's a small choice at first glance, yet it sets the tone. Here, your way of experiencing these 90s JRPGs truly matters. In Silver Star, you follow Alex, a hopeful youth longing to become the next Dragon Master, and his companions across vibrant towns and shadowy dungeons. Each village feels alive, NPCs update their chatter as your legend grows, lending a sense of connection you rarely see in modern RPGs. A millennium later in our Eternal Blue, Hero, and the enigmatic heart Lucia chase cosmic mysteries under a starlit sky. Both journeys are threaded by themes of friendship, sacrifice, and the quiet courage of everyday heroes. Combat here is deceptively simple, turn-based encounters where party positioning matters, and characters learn new skills as they level up. Yet within that framework, there's room for strategy, timing your spells, managing MP, and deciding when to speed through easier battles. That fast-forward toggle transforms what could be tedious grind into a breezy rhythm that never sacrifices challenge. In remastered mode, the pixel art pops with vibrant colors, while the HD anime cutscenes shine with updated clarity. The new voice cast brings fresh life to the characters, adding depth to the dialogue, even if some fans might miss the original dubs. The soundtrack remains as iconic as ever, with the music perfectly matching the emotional beats of the story. Quality of life enhancements are subtle, yet profound. Save anywhere, toggle Sao battle speed, customize auto battle behaviors, and choose between shared or separate inventories. It's exactly the kind of streamlining that respects classic design without diluting its soul. What strikes me most is how Lunar Remastered Collection balances heart with polish. It never pretends to revolutionize RPGs, instead it hones their essence. You'll feel Alex's wide-eyed wonder, Hero's quiet determination, and the warmth of villages that breathe and grow with you. Lunar Remastered Collection rekindles a golden era of JRPGs with reverence and care. It's not flawless, voice preferences and lens flare moments aside, but it reminds us why these games captured our hearts in the first place. For me, this game is an 8.5 out of 10, and I recommend it to nostalgic veterans seeking a heartfelt return to form, JRPG newcomers hungry for story, character, and soul. Days Gone Remastered is a journey that begins on a lonely stretch of Oregon Highway, where every mile carries the weight of memory and the promise of danger. You play as Deacon St. John, a drifter with a haunted past. Behind you, the ashes of a world upended by a brutal pandemic. Ahead, fractured camps, ragged survivors, and hordes of ravenous freakers, drawn by the scent of the living. Here, survival is measured in fuel, bullets, and moments of quiet reflection by a flickering campfire. The story unfolds like a late-night campfire tale, slow at first, then steadily gaining heat. Each encounter, each lost friend nudges you deeper into Deacon's grief and his stubborn hope. Flashbacks feel like whispers in the dark, reminders of love torn away, and reasons to keep writing. Combat is gritty, it's the tension of tightening the trigger, the satisfying crack of a headshot, and the desperate scramble when a pile of corpses springs to life around you. In the new Horde Assault mode, the panic is dialed to 11. Imagine hundreds of twisted bodies surging toward you, traps snapping shut at your heels, every heartbeat thundering in your ears, and you holding the line until you can't. But this isn't just last-gen nostalgia repackage, it's a true remaster. Days Gone Remastered drapes that world in richer light. Nights grow darker, thicker, with shadows. Dawns bloom with an almost painful clarity, every blade of grass catching the sun. Reflections dance across windows and puddles, as if the world itself is breathing. This title offers two modes. Performance mode. Lock in 60 frames. Chase every horizon with silky motion. Quality mode. Super sample at higher resolution for pixel-perfect vistas. Variable refresh, 3D audio, and near-instant load times that yank you back into the fray before you can blink. Controls flow more naturally now. Leaning into handlebars, you feel the bike's weight shifting beneath you. Handbrake skids feel savage. Every shotgun blast kicks like a live wire. And DualSense haptics whisper secrets. An engine's growl, the hiss of steam, the pulse of a distant explosion. New features deepen the brew. Permadeath. One slip, one mistake, and it's back to the beginning. Speedrun. Measure your skill against the clock. Enhanced photo mode, yet beneath all the polish, the heart remains steadfast. The world can still feel sparse. AI camps wander predictable paths. Mission markers can lure you into fetch quests that blur together. Days Gone Remastered is like revisiting an old friend, one who shows new scars and fresh laughter. You remember the heartbreak, you remember the bloodstained dawn, and now you see details you missed before. The way fog curls through pine branches, how distant storms light up the sky. Ultimately, this remaster doesn't rewrite the story, it re-immerses you in it. Days Gone Remastered stands as a resilient ride, not perfect on it but profoundly alive. It leans into its flaws and transforms them into moments of raw humanity. For me, it's an 8 out of 10. If you've yet to chase those freakish hordes, this is your highway. And if you're back for one more run, welcome home. Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree, isn't a game that holds your hand or leads you by the nose. It's a journey that asks you to pay attention, to learn, and to adapt. And in return, it offers a world rich with atmosphere, a combat system that rewards precision, and a story that unfolds through exploration and discovery. From the moment you step into the boots of the Inquisitor, the game's setting envelops you. The world of Fael'Dûm is one of decay and desolation, where the Witch Tree stands as a symbol of both hope and corruption. The narrative isn't delivered through lengthy cutscenes or overt exposition. Instead, it seeps into the environment, the architecture, the enemies, and the NPCs you encounter. Each area tells a story of its own, and it's up to you to piece them together. Combat in Mandragora is deliberate and punishing. There's no spamming of attacks here. Every swing, every dodge, every spellcast requires thought and timing. The stamina system is unforgiving, and overextending can leave you vulnerable. It's a system that rewards patience and punishes recklessness. The game's difficulty isn't just about the enemies you face, but about the choices you make. The talent trees offer a deep level of customization, allowing you to tailor your Inquisitor to your playstyle. But with great power comes great responsibility. The wrong build can make certain sections of the game feel insurmountable, and the game doesn't offer easy fixes. You must adapt, learn, and sometimes rethink your approach entirely. Mandragora is a game that encourages exploration. The interconnected world is filled with secrets, shortcuts, and hidden paths. Progression isn't always linear. Sometimes, the best way forward is to backtrack, to find a new route, or to revisit an area with new abilities. The level design is intricate, with each area feeling distinct yet part of a cohesive whole. The map system is a tool, not a crutch. It doesn't show you everything. Instead, it provides fragments that you must piece together. It's a mechanic that reinforces the game's themes of discovery and self-reliance. The game's art direction is striking. The hand-drawn environments are rich in detail, and the lighting adds a layer of depth that enhances the mood. Whether it's the eerie glow of the Witch Tree or the oppressive darkness of the catacombs, the visuals serve the story and the gameplay. The soundtrack complements the visuals perfectly. The music is haunting and atmospheric, setting the tone for each area. It's not just background noise, it's part of the experience, enhancing the emotional impact of the game's events. However, no game is without its flaws, as there are issues with the responsiveness of certain actions, like the jump attack, which can feel sluggish and leave you vulnerable. The stamina system, while adding depth, can also feel restrictive, especially in the early stages. Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree, is a game that doesn't cater to everyone. It's not about instant gratification or easy victories. It's about immersion, challenge, and discovery. It's a game that respects your intelligence and your patience. For me, this game is an 8.5 out of 10, and I can recommend Mandragora to players who enjoy challenging games that require patience and perseverance. If you appreciate deep lore, intricate level design, and a combat system that rewards skill and strategy, this game is worth your time. If you're a fan of survival horror, Into the Dead: Our Darkest Days is a game that will absolutely test your limits. Set in the year 1980, Walton City has fallen to a zombie apocalypse, and your job is to survive in a world where resources are scarce, danger is constant, and every decision could lead to disaster. This game delivers a challenging and atmospheric experience, blending brutal survival mechanics with a deep sense of dread. It's not just about fighting zombies, it's about making tough choices, managing resources, and always being prepared for the worst. The setting of Walton is hauntingly bleak. The city feels abandoned, its streets haunted by the undead, and a lingering sense of doom. The dark, gritty visual design, with its muted colors and shadowy environments, does a fantastic job of building tension. Every location feels lived in, like it was once home to people who now lie dead or have become monsters themselves. The sound design is equally effective, with the low growls of zombies and the creaking of destroyed buildings adding to the constant sense of fear. The audio immerses you in the experience, keeping you on edge with every step. But it's not just the setting that makes this game stand out, it's the way the game builds its narrative. The world is not just about surviving zombies, it's about surviving in a city that's spiraled into chaos. Crime and corruption run rampant, and there's a shady underground syndicate that operates in the shadows. You'll be left wondering who you can trust and whether you should ally with these dangerous groups to further your own goals. There's a constant feeling of moral ambiguity as you try to make decisions that will keep you and your survivors alive while navigating this hostile world. When it comes to gameplay, it doesn't pull any punches. You start with just 2 survivors, each with their own skills and abilities. One stays behind at the base to manage resources, repair barricades, and maintain the survivors' well-being, while the other ventures out into the city to scavenge for supplies. The game follows a day-night cycle, with the survivors handling tasks during the day and braving the dangerous city at night. The mechanics are all about balance, keeping your survivors fed, healthy, and mentally stable while ensuring they can defend themselves against the endless hordes of zombies. The stealth mechanics in the game are one of its key features. While combat is inevitable, the game encourages you to avoid direct confrontation with zombies when possible. Sneaking past zombies and using stealth kills are vital for survival. However, you can't rely on stealth alone. Sometimes you'll have to fight back. Combat is slow and methodical, and weapons are scarce. Whether it's a crowbar or a makeshift club, every weapon feels like a lifeline. But using them effectively requires careful timing and positioning. Combat isn't flashy. It's raw, dangerous, and rewarding in its simplicity. The brutal reality of the game means that every encounter with a zombie is nerve-wracking, and it's easy to make a mistake that costs you a survivor. But the most challenging aspect of the game is the permanent death mechanic. Every time a survivor dies, they're gone for good. This constant threat of loss forces you to be strategic and thoughtful about every move. It's a game of trial and error. Every time you fail, you learn something new, whether it's better ways to manage resources, more effective combat strategies, or improved navigation of the environment. The stakes are high, and that makes every victory feel earned. Managing resources is another major part of the game. You'll need to find food, medicine, and crafting materials to survive. The limited inventory space means you can't just grab everything you find. You'll have to prioritize what's most important. Should you carry food to feed your survivors, or take that much-needed weapon upgrade? These decisions are what make the game feel so tense. At the same time, you'll need to upgrade your base to ensure it can withstand the growing threats. Balancing the upkeep of your base while also keeping your survivors healthy and equipped is a constant juggling act, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of things you need to do to stay alive. This is a game that combines survival mechanics with a dark, immersive world that will test your ability to adapt and survive. For me, it's an 8.5 out of 10, and I highly recommended it to survival game enthusiasts and players who thrive on challenge and tough decision making. From your first step into the tall grass, Portal Fantasy feels both comfortingly familiar and wildly fresh. You'll collect porables, over 70 imaginative creatures at launch, each with unique passive abilities that reward creative team building. But here's the twist. The Shaw Fuse mechanic, Shuriken. Instead of just leveling up creatures, you gather ingredients and merge 2 porables essences to unlock new skills and visual transformations. I lost hours agonizing over combinations. Every fusion feels like a permanent power play, not just a routine upgrade. The music here is phenomenal. Lush forests hum with whimsical woodwinds, deserts pulse with rhythmic percussion, and haunted ruins echo with haunting strings. For an indie debut, these tracks could go toe-to-toe with orchestral scores. Pro tip, wear headphones. You'll catch yourself humming these melodies while doing dishes. The portal in Portal Fantasy isn't just for show. You'll warp between vibrant realms instantly. No tedious backtracking, but the real joy? Puzzles. Think Zelda-like dungeons with teleporters, spike traps, and lever puzzles that make exploration feel earned. This isn't just a monster battleground, it's a world begging to be solved. Battles start simple, type matchups, elemental attacks. Then comes the genius, a charm momentum meter that lets you unleash super moves at critical moments, pair specific pourables for team buffs. Imagine a fire attacker boosting your healer's powers. Every fight becomes a strategic puzzle where timing matters as much as raw strength. Beyond combat, you can dye your pourables colors and tweak their aesthetics like a living art project. The Fusion Lab lets you slot stat boosting crystals. Think Diablo-style loot meets Pokemon. I spent way too long perfecting my Neon Bright Battletoad. Portal Fantasy is that rare indie that honors classics while carving its own path. With strategic battles that reward creativity, puzzles that actually challenge, and a soundtrack worth the price alone. For me, this game is an 8 out of 10 and is a must-play for monster taming fans or anyone craving pixel art worlds with modern soul. Thanks for watching. Towerborn stands out by merging classic side-scrolling, beat-em-up action with RPG loot progression, all set in a post-apocalyptic fantasy world where you, an immortal Ace, fight to reclaim lost lands. Its short, 5 to 10 minute missions, hex-based map progression, and 4 distinct character classes create an addictive loop that's easy to pick up yet deep enough to reward mastery. While the combat feels crisp and the visuals shine, there is some repetition in early tiers and occasional technical hiccups. Overall, a bold experiment that delivers a fresh co-op brawling experience. You awaken as an Ace, reborn from the spirit realm called the Ebb, retaining only your fight-honed skills each time you die. A mysterious calamity drove the masses below, and now your task is to venture into the wilds, reclaim territory, and defend the hope that the Belfry represents. Beneath the tower's winding walkways lie hidden shops, secret alleys, and a cast of NPCs who lend quests, lore, and upgrades, making the Belfry feel like a living, breathing hub even as it hints at future expansions. Towerborn uses a hex grid overworld reminiscent of a strategy board game. Each hexagon hides a biome, mushroom forests, rocky plains, or swampy ruins that you unlock by clearing combat missions. Unlocking new tiles reveals shrines, loot chests, and tougher foes, giving you a sense of agency over your path forward. You can master any of 4 classes at the Forge: Sentinel, balanced sword and shield fighter, excels at offense and guard breaks; Rockbreaker, gauntleted bruiser, trades speed for crushing power; Pyroclast, flame-wielding war club specialist, sets enemies ablaze; Shadow Striker, dual dagger assassin, high mobility and burst combos. Each class levels independently, encouraging you to replay missions with new skills and strategies. Floating spirit allies, called Umbras, lend magical support in combat. From raining down meteors to chaining lightning, they not only spice up fights, but also add a layer of tactical build crafting. Combat controls are intuitive. Light and heavy attacks, dodge, jump, class specials, and Umbra summons. The 2.5D arenas allow layered movement, though precise positioning can occasionally feel off in the heat of battle. The real magic happens in 4-player co-op, where your team's abilities interlock. One player launches foes skyward, another ignites them, and a third slams them down, creating a satisfying chain of destruction. Loot drops are generous, feeding your drive to chase new weapons, armor, and aspects. Gem-like modifiers that grant elemental damage, lifesteal, or bonus XP. Unwanted gear can be dismantled into spirit dust, used to upgrade your favorites. The interface works, though marking dozens of items can become a chore. Towerborn delivers a vibrant, collaborative brawling experience that feels both nostalgic and fresh. Its bite-sized missions, class diversity, and clever map design keep players hooked, while co-op synergy turns every session into a spectacle. Some grind and technical quirks temper the shine, but the core loop rewards both button mashers and strategists alike. For me, it is an 8 out of 10, and I can recommend it. If you crave fast-paced beat-em-up action with RPG depth, especially alongside friends, Towerborn is a must-try. Solo players looking for a polished narrative may find the early tiers repetitive, but anyone who loves tight combat loops and loot-driven progression will feel right at home.
Be aware, Thomas. These men will be going with you behind enemy lines.
Commandos Origins. The true prequel to the beloved real-time tactics series is finally here. In this game, you step into the boots of 6 specialists: Jack Green Beret O'Hara, Thomas Sapper Hancock, Francis Sniper Woolridge, Samuel Driver Brooklyn, James Marine Blackwood, and Renee Spy Duchamp. The campaign kicks off with their first mission together. No flashy monologues, just high-stakes rescue and sabotage behind Nazi lines. You can even toggle historical symbols on or off, respecting both authenticity and regional sensitivities. Every mission spans a different biome: icy Arctic stations, sun-baked African deserts, coastal fortresses, and more. The level design is outstanding. You'll climb poles, commandeer vehicles, and trigger chain reaction explosives in richly detailed dioramas. Lighting and weather effects shine in Unreal Engine 5, creating atmosphere without ever obscuring crucial sightlines. This is a puzzle game in tactical clothing. Each map is a sprawling sandbox. You study vision cones, plan routes, and leverage each commando's tools. The Green Beret's sound emitter lures guards into sapper-laid bear traps. The sniper's bullet can pierce 2 enemies in one shot, There's no inventory micromanagement, no scavenged MP40 assist to juggle, so you focus on stealth and strategy. Quick saving is essential. There's no autosave, so expect to reload and refine your plan until everything clicks. When precision matters, Idao Command Mode Pause is your secret weapon. Pause time. Queue actions for multiple commandos. Execute them in perfect sync. It's inspired by modern tactical hits, and it adds a gratifying layer of choreography to each takedown. The mouse and keyboard scheme feels familiar, yet modern. You can fully customize the UI, toggle vision cones, highlight interactables, adjust icon clutter before you even begin. On console, it translates well to controllers, and key rebinding on PC covers accessibility needs. However, there is some cursor misalignment and fiddly aiming when objects clip into scenery. Audio drop bugs and missing sound have also been noted, usually fixed by restarting or adjusting output devices. 2-player co-op, online, or split screen lets you share the squad, coordinate live, and pull off complex multi-operator maneuvers. With 14 main missions, side objectives, and hidden collectibles tucked in enemy bunkers, there's plenty to revisit. Non-lethal runs are also possible for players craving a pacifist challenge. The orchestral score sets a tense tone, though it rarely reaches the iconic heights of the originals. Environmental sounds, crackling wires, distant engines, crunching snow, are superb. Voice work is solid, with nods to classic banter that will bring a smile to longtime fans. Commandos. Origins is a bold, mostly successful Charles or revival. Its mission design, tactical depth, and command mode shine. Yet launch day rough edges, fiddly controls, inconsistent AI, and technical hiccups hold it back from perfection. When everything lines up, the thrill of a flawless silent run is unmatched. But be ready to quick save, reload, and persevere. For me, this game is an 8 out of 10. I recommend Commandos, Origins to tactical strategy fans who love methodical stealth and puzzle-like levels. If you thrive on trial and error planning and don't mind a few technical quirks, this game will reward you richly. If you prefer a more forgiving, narrative-driven experience, you may want to wait for future patches. Thank you for watching until the end. Dassault Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Ultimate is a comprehensive remaster of the 2013 Xbox 360 classic. The game has been fully rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5, boosting frame rates, visual effects, and environmental details while preserving its retro charm. The chibi-style pixel art looks sharper than ever, with dynamic backgrounds and smoother animations. Players can switch between the original 8-bit soundtrack and a new J-rock score by the all-girl band, the Phantom Breakers, adding fresh energy to each stage. Combat blends fighting game depth with beat-em-up action. Each character has unique moves, including light, medium, and heavy attacks, throws, and special abilities. Parrying, guard cancels, and air combos reward skilled players, while simpler inputs let newcomers mash through crowds. After each stage, characters earn experience to level up, unlocking skills, stat boosts, and passive gear. Replayability comes from unlocking 38 playable fighters, including defeated enemies, for use in arcade and versus modes. Battles take place on 2 planes, foreground and background, letting enemies ambush from all angles. A quick plane switch button keeps fights dynamic, inspired by classics but streamlined for modern play. The chibi characters and vibrant colors strike a nostalgic yet polished balance. Local co-op supports up to 4 players on the same couch, while online co-op allows 6 players to team up across platforms. Versus mode ramps up the chaos with 8-player free-for-alls or team battles. Solo story mode offers about 90 minutes to 2 hours of linear brawling, perfect for short sessions but repetitive over time. Normal difficulty suits casual players, while Nightmare Plus demands mastery of advanced mechanics. Passive gear helps smooth the grind, but the RPG progression truly shines in co-op. Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Ultimate modernizes a cult classic with flashy visuals, deep combat, and chaotic multiplayer. While the thin story and occasional grind may deter solo purists, its charm, progression, and cross-platform mayhem make it a standout party game. This game is an 8 out of 10, and I recommend it to retro beat-em-up fans, fighting game enthusiasts, and groups craving chaotic co-op. Crashlands 2 returns you to the vibrant, chaotic world of Whoa-I-Nope with Flux Dabes, intergalactic trucker turned accidental hero, and her ever-snarky robot sidekick, Juicebox. Nearly a decade after the original, Butterscotch Shenanigans has delivered a sequel that refines its predecessor's charm while introducing new systems and a fresh storyline. After a lucrative, if morally dubious spokesperson stint for the Bureau of Shipping, Flux and Juicebox touch down on Whoa-I-Nope, only to be blasted out of orbit by a mysterious withering. Crash landing in a far-flung region, you must rebuild your crashed ship's cabin, rescue stranded NPCs, and uncover who, or what, is poisoning the planet's life force. Whoa-I-Nope is alive with dynamic ecosystems, bulbous alien trees, shimmering mineral veins, and creatures that interact with each other and the environment. One moment, you'll lure a trunkle into an explosive meadow. The next, you'll fish bioluminescent forays under twin moons. NPCs like Grell and Uwe offer insights, time-based research tasks that unlock new crafting recipes. Their comfort and your rebuild-based speeds progress, making your cabin a social hub as well as a workshop. The writing remains snappy and self-aware, blending slapstick with moments of genuine warmth. Crafting is streamlined and approachable. You begin with basic sticks and rocks, and quickly build walls, pillars, and a door to establish a home base. From there, you add garden beds, workbenches, and cozy rooms for new companions. Unlike many sandbox titles, you don't juggle dozens of menus. Recipes are unlocked via insights and clearly listed, and resources respawn at generous intervals. This simplicity makes Crashlands too ideal for players who want creativity without complexity. Hardcore builders may crave deeper automation or randomness, but for a lighthearted adventure, the system strikes a near-perfect balance. Combat feels crisp and fair. Enemies telegraph attacks, giving you time to dodge, trap, or retaliate. You can mix and match weapons and elixirs, turn fish into bombs, stun foes with a spacewalk, or make a void pack to convert damage into power. Early fights with Slugabuns and Slugababies can feel punishing when you're armed only with the frying pan, but progression is smooth. New armor and weapons arrive just as you need them. Exploration is guided by a flagged map and teleporters, so you never wander aimlessly. Side quests are bite-sized fetch tasks perfect for quick forays or marathon sessions. The environments are richly detailed, with dynamic lighting that makes day-night transitions pop. The soundtrack mixes upbeat electronic beats with whimsical tunes that perfectly underscore the game's playful tone. For me, it is an 8 out of 10, and I recommend it for casual RPG fans and anyone who loves lighthearted crafting adventures. When you begin, you'll feel those PS2 era vibes, fixed camera angles, tape recorder saves, and environments that practically breathe dread. Post-trauma casts you as Roman, a man wrestling with his own mind. 1 second, you're in a familiar subway station, lights flickering, distant echoes, and the next, you're plunged into a bleeding through reality where your own memories turn into monsters. Every hallway you cross, every room you enter, feels like it's been built around your deepest fears. The ambient whispers, the sudden stabs of music, they're all designed to keep you on edge. Don't expect a run-and-gun experience. This is a cerebral horror game. Combat exists, but your true weapons are observation, deduction, and persistence. From the very first puzzle, you'll be jotting down clues, snapping photos of cryptic symbols, and retracing your steps when that one switch doesn't do what you thought it would. Some challenges will have you pausing the game, leaning forward and whispering, "Wait, what?" And that's exactly the point. Every solved riddle feels earned. Post-trauma generally runs smoothly. You'll appreciate the dynamic lighting painting long shadows across blood-splattered walls. Creature animations are grotesque and surprising, though occasionally you might spot a limb clipping through scenery. Those rough edges remind you that you're playing an indie passion project, one that chose atmosphere over polish, and in this case, the trade-off mostly pays off. There's a moment midway through when you slip into a first-person perspective to line up a perplexing dartboard puzzle. The world closes in, the soundtrack swells, and you realize how invested you've become. That's the beauty of post-trauma. It doesn't just scare you with jump scares, it rattles the way you think, forcing you to confront uncertainty in every shadow. It nails the spirit of classic survival horror while forging its own identity. It's rough around the edges, but those very edges are what sharpen the tension. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because few games balance nostalgia and innovation so effectively. If you hunger for challenging puzzles, if you miss the days of atmospheric dread, if you love stories that blur the line between reality and nightmare, then Post-Trauma is made for you.
Welcome, Zoe. I was beginning to think you two would never make it.
Steel Seed is a sci-fi stealth action adventure where you play as Zoe, a biomechanical humanoid with no memories, accompanied by Kobai, a sentient drone. Together, you'll navigate a planet-sized underground facility built by rogue machines, uncovering dark secrets and asking what it really means to be human. Zoe wakes in a colossal, decaying megastructure. Layers of molten reactors, rusted catwalks, and overgrown biodomes designed to save humanity after a global apocalypse. Your primary goal is to find Zoe's missing father and unravel the rogue AI's motives, but along the way, you'll confront questions of identity and memory. The writing by BAFTA winner Martin Corda blends bleak philosophy with environmental storytelling, from dripping water echoing in abandoned labs to the distant hum of machinery that feels alive. Steel Seed's heartbeat is its sheer dual-mode gameplay. In third person, you guide Zoe through stealth and melee combat, slipping through shadows for silent takedowns or engaging robots in Souls-like swordplay with light and heavy combos, perfect dodges, and cinematic counters. When you need tactical insight, you switch to Kobe's first-person flight mode, scouting ahead to tag enemies, hack consoles, or stun foes mid-fight. Traversal is equally thrilling. Wall runs on magnetized panels, climbs via glowing handholds, and slides down angled ramps blend exploration and combat fluidly. Progression unfolds through 3 skill trees: stealth, combat, traversal, and savvy points, where you heal, fast travel, and spend modules on permanent health or energy upgrades. Steel Seed delivers breathtaking industrial vistas. Gigantic reactor cores glow like alien suns. Turbine rings rotate with mechanical precision, and biodomes crackle with failing life support. The art direction draws inspiration from megastructure manga like Blame, and classics like Blade Runner, creating oppressive scale and intricate detail. A minimalist synth score and ambient clanks amplify tension, making every corridor feel like a living organism. Steel Seed blends stealth, parkour, and Souls-like combat into a cohesive, atmospheric package. Kobe is one of the most endearing drone companions in recent memory, and Zoe's journey keeps you invested from start to finish. Minor UI quirks and pacing bumps hold it back from perfection, but its world-building mechanical depth and emotional undercurrents more than make up for them. For me, this is an 8 out of 10. This is a must-play for fans of moody sci-fi, stealth action hybrids, and solo adventures with philosophical weight. I highly recommend it for anyone seeking a fresh, thoughtful take on the genre. From the moment the game booted up, I found myself immersed in a world that plays like a cherished childhood memory, yet with a level of polish that speaks to modern sensibilities. The visuals are a delightful balance of retro charm and high-definition clarity. You can almost feel the care that went into every texture and model, as the game effortlessly toggles between a crisp, modern look and the quirky, warped style that defined the original. There's a magic in this visual flexibility, a kind of respectful nod to the past that makes every jump and every obstacle feel personal. What truly struck me, though, was the way the controls have been reimagined. Gone are the cumbersome, tank-like movements of old. Instead, Croc now bounds through his cartoonish realm with a newfound fluidity that is both responsive and intuitive. The analog inputs have been refined to such an extent that even my most casual button presses feel deliberate and satisfying. It's as if the game gently guides you to explore every hidden nook, every secret path, with the confidence that builds as you progress. The remaster doesn't just update the mechanics, it transforms them into a language that speaks to today's gamers while still preserving the playful spirit of its origins. There's also an unexpected, almost poetic layer to the game, a digital museum lovingly dubbed the Crossopedia. This isn't merely an add-on, it's an invitation to understand the soul of Croc, Legend of the Gobos. As I flipped through pages filled with sketches, design notes, and even early soundbites, I felt like I was unwrapping a time capsule. The Crossopedia serves as a quiet reminder that every pixel, every melody, and every quirky animation was born from a passion for creating something truly memorable. The soundscape remains a pillar of the experience. Each melody strikes a chord, evoking memories of simpler days while still resonating in today's sound systems. However, the audio rarely surprises. It's comforting rather than groundbreaking, which, for some, might feel like a missed opportunity to push the envelope further. As I journeyed through each level, I couldn't help but appreciate the care taken in redesigning the classic platformer experience. The level design is clever and layered with secrets, inviting exploration and rewarding curiosity. For me, this remaster is a solid 8 out of 10. I recommend this game to gamers who appreciate platformers with a rich emotional core and those who enjoy diving into a piece of gaming history reinterpreted for modern play. Visually, Tetris the Grandmaster 4 Absolute Ice strikes a pleasing balance between retro arcade minimalism and contemporary sheen. The playfield, nice piece display, and the UI elements are crisp, with dynamic sparks and subtle animations reinforcing each lock and line clear. Backgrounds, particularly in the ever-revolving marathon and master modes, are vibrant and evocative. Shinji Hasoe's soundtrack, once again helmed by the Super Sweep alumni, delivers a driving, techno-infused score that pulsates with every level. From the hypnotic title theme to the adrenaline-pumping master tracks, the audio consistently elevates the tension and focus demanded on the game's speed. This game offers a diverse suite of modes catering to a broad skill spectrum. Marathon, Standard Rule, the classic endurance runs, 150 lines to clear, level increases every 10 lines, and high score wins. Normal, Tetris Grandmaster Rule, the 999 mode from earlier game returns, challenging you to clear 999 lines as fast as possible. Asuka mode, an intermediate 20G max gravity mode with the rewind feature, fix and mix plays block mid-drop to refine your stacking. Master mode, for veterans only, 20G from the outset, with ever increasing speed and picky free segment that obscures the playfield. Konoha mode, big block all clear puzzles, with collectible illustrations unlocked per clear. Casual friendly thanks to the hidden hints, yet surprisingly fiendish without them. Shiranuga mode, CPU battles across escalating tiers, win to unlock harder AI opponents, with hidden tiers awaiting the bravest. And a robust practice mode, including textbook tutorials, guided line clears, and replay versus mode, bridging the gap for newcomers, teaching T-spins, all clears, and advanced techniques and contexts. At its core, it's pure Tetris. Tetraminos follow blister speeds, demanding pixel-perfect placement, T-spin mastery, and split-second decision-making. The R's rotating system feels familiar yet refined, No more pieces nagging in 5th column, and move resets smooth out of high gravity sections. Tetris the Grandmaster 4 Absolute Eye delivers the core premise of the Tetris Grandmaster, a hyper-competitive, razor-sharp Tetris gauntlet that rewards practice, precision, and perseverance. It delivers modes and extensive practice tools to make it both an ultimate challenge for Tetris purists and a viable entry point for dedicated newcomers. Tetris the Grandmaster 4 Absolute Eye is an 8 out of 10, and it's a game I could recommend to Tetris Grandmaster veterans craving a new official chapter, speedrunning enthusiasts, and high-skill puzzle players seeking their next edition. This is a triumph, if imperfect, return to the Grandmaster series. The world of Echoes of Yi, Samsara is suspended between our realm and the spirit plane. At its heart stands the Janmu tree, a cosmic conduit born of Sangsingdui mythology whose roots hold the fate of humanity. As the Sword Saint's protege, you're drawn into a conspiracy that threatens the balance of life and death itself. At its core, Samsara's combat is a dance of timing and precision. Borrowing heavily from games like Sekiro, battles revolve around a momentum bar that fills with each successful parry or guard. Once the bar peaks, the enemy's defenses crumble, opening the door for a cinematic finishing move. You must read enemy cues, an arcing spear thrust or broadsword slash, and press guard at the precise moment to stagger foes. Offense and defense blend seamlessly. A well-timed block can immediately transition into a riposte, keeping the action fluid. Unlock and master 3 distinct styles. Taichi for graceful counters, swordplay for balanced defense, and spear techniques for reach and multi-target confrontations. Each style offers its own skill tree and unlockable combos. Exploration ties into combat progression. Defeating hidden mini-bosses or solving folklore-inspired puzzles often rewards you with new techniques or momentum bar enhancements. While the learning curve is steep, the payoff is pure exhilaration when you flawlessly dodge, parry, and strike in one unbroken flow. Samsara delivers striking environments bathed in lantern glow, drifting petals, and ghostly wisps. The Sangsingdui ruins feel otherworldly, with towering bronze statues half buried in overgrowth. Boss arenas framed beneath the sprawling Jianmu branches create memorable backdrops for each epic duel. The narrative unfolds through whispered legends in mist-shrouded ruins, cryptic spirit apparitions, and emotional flashbacks that hint at the Sword Saint's own sacrifices. You'll meet ghostly wanderers, corrupted guardians, and enigmatic spirits, each encounter peeling back layers of a story steeped in themes of sacrifice, duty, and the heavy burden of power. On the downside, texture streaming can be inconsistent. You'll occasionally see low-res surfaces pop in during traversal, and character facial animations sometimes lack the weight and expressiveness to sell emotional cutscenes. On mid-range PCs, frame rates can dip into the mid-40s during dense particle effects. Loading screens occasionally stall as textures stream in, and a few players report rare crashes or softlocks during boss transitions. After the main campaign, optional Echo Trials let you revisit boss arenas with modifiers like higher aggression or limited healing. Hidden side dungeons house rare scrolls that unlock secret martial forms. While the world isn't sprawling, these replay hooks extend longevity for completionists. This game is a 7.5 out of 10, and I recommend it too. Hardcore action RPG fans who thrived on Sekiro and Bloodborne. Players intrigued by Eastern mythology and willing to forgive jank for cultural immersion. Completionists who enjoy mastering combat systems and uncovering hidden lore. Promise Mascot Agency is a genre-defying open-world adventure and management sim by Kaizen Gameworks. You play Michi, an ex-Yakuza cleaner, exiled to the cursed town of Kasomachi with a 12 billion yen debt. Partnering with Pinky, a foul-mouthed severed finger, you rebuild a failing mascot agency, recruit sentient mascots, negotiate contracts, assign gigs, and uncover dark conspiracies. Kasomachi's perpetual brown haze and crumbling streets mirror its citizens' despair. Beneath the absurd premise, mascots range from a crying block of tofu to a cat obsessed with adult videos, lies a heartfelt tale of community revival. Political corruption and supernatural curses thread through the plot, giving your mission genuine stakes. Promise Mascot Agency weaves together multiple gameplay strands. Open world trucking, traverse Kasomachi in a rickety pickup truck, accessing every nook and cranny at your leisure. Along the way, you'll discover new mascots, side quests, and hidden collectibles. Mascot management, negotiate contracts that determine mascots' pay, bonuses, and downtime. Unhappy mascots perform poorly, so you'll juggle wages, benefits, and motivation to keep your workforce effective. Event gigs and incidents, assign mascots to promotional events, store openings, festivals, even a sex hotel launch, and earn cash. When things inevitably go sideways, angry spirits, oversized mascots stuck in doorways, ravenous beasts, you jump into a quick, single-round card battle minigame using mascot support heroes to bail them out. Beyond one-off gigs, build a true mascot empire via subcontractors, merchandising, plushies, mugs, apparel, and town investments. Each new revenue stream ties back into the narrative, fueling both your debt payments and Castle Machi's revival. It embraces a retro anime aesthetic, complete with a subtle lo-fi visual filter and minimalist UI that evoke classic JRPGs. Its jazzy, upbeat soundtrack underpins every mascot mishap and midnight drive. The game offers full Japanese and English voiceovers, plus subtitles in multiple languages, including French, German, Spanish, and Chinese, ensuring both authenticity and accessibility. Promise Mascot Agency is a marvel of creative ambition. It fuses open-world exploration, management simulation, and absurdist humor into a cohesive, heartfelt experience. While the management systems can grow routine and the card game hook remains lightweight, the game's narrative depth, unforgettable characters, and sheer inventiveness more than compensate. It's an indie standout of 2025 that will appeal to anyone who loves quirky storytelling, business sim depth, or open worlds that refuse to play it safe. For me, it's a 7.5 out of 10, and I highly recommended it to fans of narrative-driven open worlds, management sims with personality, and players craving something refreshingly offbeat and sincere. All in Abyss, Judge the Fake is a bold fusion of poker mechanics and anime storytelling. This game offers a unique blend of strategy and narrative. Players step into the shoes of Asuha Senehara, a self-proclaimed genius gambler seeking to conquer the city, a dystopian metropolis ruled by deceitful witches. After a humiliating defeat by the sweet-toothed witch Ulu Amamino, Asuha embarks on a quest for redemption, aiming to expose the witch's fraudulent tactics and reclaim her honor. At its core, the game revolves around one-on-one Texas Hold'em poker matches. However, it introduces unique elements that set it apart. Skill activation. Asuha can utilize special skills during matches such as Ace in the Hole to influence the next card dealt, or Sharp Eye to gain insights into opponents' hands. All-in mechanic. A high-stakes move that puts all chips on the line, often used to deliver a decisive blow when the odds are favorable. City exploration. Between matches, players can explore various districts of the city to gather clues, expose the witch's cheating methods, and engage in side activities to earn resources. The game boasts a vibrant anime art style, with character designs that reflect their personality. The witches in particular are visually distinctive, each embodying unique thematic element. The soundtrack complements the gameplay, featuring energetic tracks during poker battles and more subdued melodies during exploration phase. I score it a 7.5 out of 10. I recommended it to fans of visual novels and anime-inspired storytelling, players looking for a unique twist on card-based games, those who enjoy character-driven narratives with strategic gameplay elements.
Emily Carter is currently at overdose risk. Administer an antidote injection.
From the moment you launch Overdose, you're hit with a nightmarish color palette, deep blues, sickly greens, and sudden slashes of red. The sound design is equally potent, distant whispers, the hum of fluorescent lights, and a dynamic soundtrack that crescendos just when you think you're safe. Together, these elements create a visceral, oppressive atmosphere that belies the game's low price. That said, the presentation isn't flawless. Texture quality can be uneven. Some corridors are richly detailed, while others look rushed and low resolution. NPC animations occasionally feel stiff, pulling you out of key moments. The narrative of Overdose is simple but effective. A mad doctor has turned his patients into test subjects. One escaped, and now a vengeful killer stalks the halls. On top of that, the ghost of a woman tortured in those experiments haunts the asylum, her screams echoing through the darkness. Storytelling is delivered through environmental clues, blood-splattered notes, cryptic audio logs, and whispered dialogue. This fragmented approach rewards exploration, but can feel overly opaque. Key plot beats are buried beneath layers of ambiguity, which may frustrate players who prefer a more direct narrative. Gameplay in Overdose blends time management, survival horror, and light stealth. Your core loop is 1. Deliver experimental drugs. Consult patient charts, measure doses precisely. Overdose and they die, underdose and they may escape or attack you. 2. Monitor security cameras. A faceless killer lurks among the patients. If you hesitate, it's already too late. 3. Lock and hide. Secure doors to slow threats, but power is limited. Sometimes you'll need to barricade or slip into the shadows. Upload recordings. A mysterious force demands you send camera footage periodically. Refuse, and supernatural consequences follow. This mixture keeps tension high. You're juggling patient welfare, your own safety, and an unseen power's demands. Combat is minimal, and stealth can feel simplistic, but the game's real strength lies in these creative, pressure-packed scenarios. Overdose Sound is a rough diamond. brimming with atmosphere, inventive tension, and a price tag that can't be beat. Yet it stumbles in areas, visual consistency, technical polish, and a narrative that sometimes hides too much. For me, it is a 7 out of 10 at $3.99. Overdose is a no-brainer for horror enthusiasts eager to explore a twisted asylum. It may not be perfect, but it certainly delivers scares, and sometimes that's all you need. Star Overdrive stands out as a bold experiment. This sci-fi action-adventure asks players to navigate a vast alien world on a high-speed hoverboard, solve physics-driven puzzles, and duel extraterrestrial foes with a keytar. The promise is enticing, equal parts Breath of the Wild exploration, Tony Hawk tricks, and a pinch of Monster Hunter combat. Yet, ambition alone doesn't guarantee cohesion. Bios, our silent protagonist, arrives on the desert planet Sabiti, chasing a cryptic distress signal from his missing partner, Nayus. Scattered audio logs reveal her voice, but the fragments feel half-realized. Without a living, breathing character to guide our emotions, narrative moments land lightly. The plot functions as a breadcrumb trail, enough to motivate exploration, but not enough to inspire genuine investment in Bios' journey, or the fate of Sabiti's forgotten inhabitants. Gameplay pivots on the hoverboard. Holding a button builds charge on even the gentlest slope, launching you skyward. Mid-air tricks, executed via joystick flicks, reward speed boosts on landing. Races through timed checkpoints turn vast dunes into personal obstacle courses. On foot, a jetpack can dash chain into platforming sequences, while 6 puzzle mines challenge your keytar powers, ranging from object manipulation to projectile blasts. The result? Moments of pure flow, punctuated by system overload. Visually, Star Overdrive favors the cel-shaded palette. Sandy dunes, crystalline ruins, and neon-lit towers pop against a violet sky. Synthwave beats underscore every trick, lending an 80s sci-fi vibe. Yet, long vistas feel empty, and environmental pop-in is hard to ignore. Character models, while crisp, lack facial animation, leaving bios perpetually expressionless. Performance usually hovers around 30 FPS, but stutters creep in during dense sequences. A handful of audio glitches punctuate otherwise strong music, and occasional crashes remind you that this is the work of a lean team. 2 upgrade tracks aim to deepen progression. A 6-node skill tree boosts attack, shield, and energy for special moves. These choices feel meaningful, rewarding each earned node. Conversely, hoverboard crafting overwhelms with micro tweaks. Combining metals, alien tech, and rare gravitanium yields marginal stat gains. Except for water surfing upgrades, most parts feel like busy work. Resource gathering spices, exploration. But the payoff rarely justifies the grind, turning what should be empowerment into chore. Star Overdrive glimmer with flashes of brilliance, hoverboard flow, physics puzzles, and a bold aesthetic, but buckles under the weight of its own systems. Combat is serviceable but lacks depth, and empty landscapes dilute motivation. Yet, for players who live for momentum-driven traversal, the core ride is worth sampling. I score Star Overdrive a 6.5 out of 10 and recommended it to indie enthusiasts seeking experimental movement and puzzle design, but caution those craving narrative depth or polished combat. Hey everyone, welcome back. Orphans is an indie game that blends adventure, stealth, and puzzles. In Orphans, you step into the shoes of Victoria, a young girl orphaned after a sea accident. She wakes up in a mysterious dystopian city teeming with dangers. Think traps and creepy humanoid creatures out to get her. Her mission is to rescue other orphan kids, each with special abilities, to escape this hostile place. What stands out is the storytelling. There's no dialogue. Instead, the game uses environmental clues, like graffiti on the walls that shifts based on your language settings. It's a neat trick that pulls you into the city's dark history, making you feel like a detective piecing it all together. The gameplay mixes platforming, stealth, and puzzles. Victoria wields a slingshot to interact with the environment, knocking over objects to distract enemies or hitting switches to progress. It's simple, but works, though the aiming can feel clunky, especially with the fixed camera angles. Those angles look cinematic, but often obscure your view, leading to some trial and error moments. The orphans you rescue add variety. There's a monkey child who flips around to reach high spots and an elephant child who smashes barriers. When it clicks, it's satisfying teamwork. But here's the catch. The companion AI has bugs. They can get stuck or act weird, forcing restarts that kill the vibe. Where Orphans shines is its atmosphere. The city feels alive with dread, eerie, dark, and tense. The art style isn't high-end, but has a distinct, almost artificial look that fits the dystopian tone. The sound design seals the deal. Creepy ambient noises and strategic silence ramp up the immersion. It's the kind of world that sticks with you. Sadly, technical issues drag it down. Beyond the AI glitches, there are crashes and bugs that disrupt play. At 3 to 5 hours, it's also short, and the $15 price tag feels steep for what you get. Replayability is low too. Collectibles like balloons and statues exist, but there's no tracking, so good luck finding them all without starting over. Orphans has heart and potential. The atmosphere, storytelling, and companion mechanics are solid hooks, but it's rough around the edges. Technical flaws and a brief runtime hold it back from greatness. This game is a 6.5 out of 10, and if you're into indie adventures like Little Nightmares and can tolerate some jank, it's worth a look, but maybe on a sale or after patches.